Mostly because of Cummins, that Cummins factory they have there. They had a 25% drop in salaries and reduced hours, which significantly reduced the amount of income tax, local income tax revenue in the county.
Well, when you start looking at the numbers, we haven't had like
Mostly because of Cummins,
one
that
major
Cummins factory they have there.
that has come in and done that, but our numbers are kind of high for unemployment once been filed.
Good?
Okay, you want me to text you when we're done, or are you just gonna watch? I mean, you can watch live if you want. You get the full experience.
Thank you.
I'm assuming Jim's coming.
I'm assuming, I don't know.
Okay.
We go through each one.
I don't know, that's what I was going to ask, but I will
Jim?
file like or on record, I guess. I'm hoping not, but I don't know. All right, we ready? Anybody else? Call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Calling a roll. Fair enough. Public comment? Hearing none. Communications from elected officials, other officials, and agencies of the county. Anybody? Hearing none, move on to requests of council. 20-018 encumbrances. I guess my first question, are we doing these individually as a, or what's?
If that's how you want to do it, or I've compiled a list that's kind of broken, kind of sorted them out by same issues, maybe, so that if you want to address them by issue.
By fund, and then the name of the fund?
But where has it by sales tax, by late?
It's this.
Yeah.
These are all the ones that Calista found that had
I gave them to Jim.
that have a sales tax issue.
Okay,
And then all the ones, which is only one that had a late fee as the problem,
calculation
and like
here.
that.
Okay. All right, so we'll go with the sales tax. First one is sheriff, Top Guns. You want me to, for record, give the amount, or?
You can if you like. I would go with like maybe the amendment column.
Okay. The sheriff, in regards to Top Guns, the amended amount, it looks like $23.09. EMA, in regards to Galls, the amended amount is, oh, wait a second. Am I saying that wrong? Yeah, $10.28, correct? And the highway from Fastenal, $15.24. And Parks, MasterCard, Hobby Lobby, $6.48. I guess.
So, sorry, may I ask
Oh,
you a
no,
question?
yes.
So procedurally, for like this group, and then maybe for each group, are we well, no, for maybe the first three, is our action to approve the amended amount versus the requested encumbrance? Is that not what our action should be?
Yes, I mean, but
First of all, can you define for me what an encumbrance is? Do you know what you're looking for?
do I?
Yeah,
Yes.
what is it?
An encumbrance is an appropriation that you're wanting to extend from one year to the next because you did not expend it in the prior year.
You wouldn't get any points on the CPA exam for that.
Well, I haven't taken a CPA exam.
That's obvious. What an encumbrance is an S.
Thank you.
Actually,
But I guess my understanding, not to cut you off.
when if we had a purchase department, the department head or whoever would order the purchase, they would submit an estimate of what that purchase is going to cost. In this example here, it's a $30,000 purchase. And that $30,000 is entered in the appropriation ledger as such. When the request is made to reserve a portion of that budget for that purchase. Then, at the time the bill comes due, you reverse the encumbrance. It's taken away, the budget goes back to where it was, and the expenditure, say, in this example, it comes in $29,900. You reverse the initial encumbrance and post what the actual amount is to that budgetary item. So, you know, really what we're entering on these records technically disappear when the actual purchase is made.
Well, I guess I was of the understanding that this had more to do with a commitment that is made during 1 year that is not paid in that year, but clearly is going to be required to be paid in the next year, and that this is about transferring.
And it's an that.
Not if it's not
Yeah,
if it's an invoiced amount, then you've got a specific correct
I know,
amount.
And if we're encumbering $30,000 on December 31st, 2019 for a specific purchase, a truck or a car, whatever you're buying for $30,000, then when the bill comes in, if it's less, that's all that encumbrance can be used for. It's the additional $100 can't be used to, you know, buy a part for the car later on, or some other, you know, staple or whatever. It's only for that particular item. So you're not extending your 2020 budget. You're limiting, you're accounting for that little timing difference.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
But why would we approve the payment, the allocation, because this is about approving the allocation of funds to pay these outstanding charges, correct?
They aren't outstanding charges until you get the bill.
But we have the bill in these cases, we have an invoice. So we have the amount that's being billed, which has been recorded and given to us before the end of the year. So it's an amount certain of our commitment in these cases, is my
It
understanding.
is now.
Sure, so it is now. So right now, we're being asked to approve these for payment. It's kind of interesting that it's May, but,
Well, I guess yeah, well, there's all kinds of I guess based on the circumstances.
well,
I just, you know, I disagree with the term approved. Approved would signify that you have the authority to say, don't pay it.
well,
I think what we're getting at is, you know, it's for informational purposes, for review. If we were running a true purchase order system, which, you know, take a couple more people to do it, to exercise this proper control over the budget that you have with a purchase order system, you'd be in here daily approving these orders before they, you know, before they go out and buy the item.
right, but we have been asked to approve the transfer of sort of budget authority from one year to the other to pay for these, right, in essence?
You're using last year's budget authority to write that check for whatever.
I thought that we had or that we had asked for an opinion from Mr. Effner about whether it's appropriate for us to go through this process. Did we?
We did.
Okay, and he felt that it was appropriate for us to go through this process, is my understanding.
Yes.
And so I guess my question is, since we're going through this process, and I'm going to probably ask a different question at the end of this, since we're going through this process, if we have an amount here that has been determined for some reason to be incorrect, my thinking is that we should address that or call for that to be addressed in some way as
Well,
appropriate for that, whatever that issue is. And I thought that's what we were doing with these groups of
Well,
things.
it should be addressed when that bill's paid. If there's too much encumbered for the sheriff, for Top Guns, and he gets a bill for
Well,
X, then the entire amount's removed from this year, should be removed from this year's budget.
well,
From that.
I guess my question would be, since that's the case, we should be confident, since you're going to your group, presumably that would be your office that does that? Okay, so since we can be confident that you will address it, then we should be confident that we can approve the amended amount, because you all will address the fact that, for example, in this first case, that sales tax needs to come off. So you guys would address that. Sometime you haven't maybe yet, but you will in paying that bill. And so we could approve the amended amount of each of those that's got that type of problem, and that will be fine.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Which I think was where this was headed.
So on the sheriff, the amount that we are approving is the $3,565.54.
That's right, because the auditor's office is going to ensure that
And
we
then
don't
on
pay that
sales taxes, in the past, you know, I'd have to look at each of these items to see what the circumstances are. But in the past, we absolutely didn't pay any sales tax. It didn't matter. Now, the Department of Revenue changed their rules a few years ago regarding how sales tax is paid. For example, I don't know what this is that the sheriff purchased from Top Guns, but if a deputy would go in there and buy ammunition, for example, and pay for it himself with his credit card, he would have to be charged sales tax.
Because
And
because he doesn't have a tax exempt
Right.
form, which he should have when he pays
No,
for something.
he would have, it has to be purchased in the governmental unit's name to get that exemption.
Okay.
For example, you know, if you go buy some supplies or something and turn in a claim for reimbursement, it'll have that sales tax on it, and the Board of Accounts has said they wouldn't object to paying that sales tax, because the Department of Revenue demands that it be charged to an individual, to an unexempt individual.
Do they object to the payment of sales tax if it's paid for by the entity?
If it's paid for in the entity's name, if it's billed or charged in the entity's name.
Then the customer info here is Vigo County Sheriff's Department, so that's being paid for in the entity's name.
I don't have what you've got in front of me, so
Well,
that's what I said.
do. I just read it to you. It says customer info, Vigo County Sheriff's Department. So this is being asked to be paid for in the entity's name.
Yeah, he
And
should
it
have
includes
taken,
sales tax.
he should have taken the exemption certificate with him. What is it they're buying?
A number of things.
Some guns, that, and gun equipment.
Yeah, this
So in this case, it seems appropriate to, and I thought that, I mean, each of these has been noted as having, I mean, the four at the top, if you look at your sheet, have been noted. Do you need this packet? I've got an extra. Do you want this packet?
Sure.
Plus, I can give him this whole thing, right?
Just print it out.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, I just don't want to, if y'all are going to approve the right amount, which would not include sales tax for an entity that shouldn't have paid sales tax, then I don't want to approve as a council member an amount that is in fact not the right
it
amount.
may have been-
If we can see clearly that it's not the right amount.
And it may have been corrected too by this time.
Okay,
I'd
so
be
again, we could feel comfortable approving these amended amounts because the sales tax should come off.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to look at them, you know, and, yeah, go
That's how I
ahead.
feel about it.
So from our standpoint, sales tax as one, it looks like sheriff, the amount that we're looking at approving is $3,565.54. EMA, $151.36. Highway 3, $222.75. And parks, $1,289.79. Did we read about that? Right.
That's for those specific charges. Now, then the last column, that's for, because if you look, like EMA, they had other invoices that they encumbered, so it's a different amount.
Is that the total?
That's the
The very
total
far right.
overall, but so, I mean, as long as you've addressed that it's Top Gun, it's Galls, it's Fastenal, and Hobby Lobby, then you know you're good with those. So the amended amount for that specific charge is the
The
second to the last column, and then the amended amount for the account is the very last.
Okay.
So are we approving, I'm sorry, David.
No, you're good.
Are we approving the encumbrance of the amended amount, or are we approving the total for the account?
It ends up being the same
Okay,
number. I mean,
Okay.
it's not the same number, but the impact is the same.
okay, so we can approve either or.
That's the way I understand it.
Okay,
It's-
okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right, so as far as sales tax, you want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the amended account total for those encumbrance items that have apparent sales tax included. And that is the reduced amount for those items that have sales tax apparently included in the charge.
Move it to council favorably? No recommendation?
Move to favorably to approve these encumbrance amounts. Yes, for the items that have apparent sales taxes included, we approve the amended total account shown on this sheet with sales tax excluded. That's a motion.
A motion. Have a second?
I'll second all of that. Every word.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that motion moves to full council with a favorable recommendation. The next fund, I guess, late fee from building maintenance. Looks like so we're kind of in the same boat, right? The amended amount, $81, or the requested amount, $5,162.11. The amended amount, or the amendment of $81.34 makes the amendment amount $5,080.77.
And then it changed the total for that account to $53,739.18.
Okay.
So so the numbers that are listed here would go to this new total in the very last one.
Okay.
So is this just a late fee that was removed?
We're not supposed to pay late fees. We're supposed to pay your bills timely.
Generally, banks, was that McAllister? Oh, I thought it was a card.
McAllister. On the sheet, it's McAllister.
Yeah, it's McAllister.
They may or may not have gotten that taken off.
Late payments, are they still not the liability of the person that didn't pay the bill on time?
Depends.
So based on the understanding that we don't pay late payments, or late fees, I move that we approve the amended total for the building maintenance McAllister CAT amount or invoice for a total account of $53,739.18.
Favorable recommendation.
Favorable recommendation to council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we move to full council with a favorable recommendation. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? We move that to entire council with a favorable recommendation. The next one, calculation error. Commissioners, requested amounts $112. The,
$102.
or what'd I say?
112. Oh no, you're right. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing.
$112.
I thought you were saying amended.
Moving the total account to $136.76. Jail, The requested amount, $14,300, moving the total account to $56,032.61. And clerk, the requested amount, $6.40, moving the total account to $38. Discussion?
And I want to say that, like, the first one was a credit that hadn't been taken advantage of. The second one was an extra month that was in the invoice to be paid. It was 13 months, not 12. And the clerk perp was I think that was travel. Was that redundant travel
Yeah, because it's also in the
expenses?
election.
It's in the other, okay. So,
It's in the
Yeah.
election board and the general fund, and if you look at the claim, it should have been, it's 240, but some reason they typed 640 on their encumbrance request form. And they typed 640 on their encumbrance request form, but it's in two different funds.
so that's why those three are wrong. So I move that we move to council with a favorable recommendation, these three encumbrances for the total account amounts shown here, 136.76, 56,032.61, and $38 for these three funds.
I second.
We have a motion and a second that this moves to council with a favorable recommendation. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, moving on to entire council with a favorable recommendation. All right, now the fourth one, not invoiced to the county. Public defender, that's where we switched a little bit, I guess. The requested amount, $7,520.90. Infraction deferral, I guess is what that is, $616.42.
The one for the public defender, it is invoiced to a law firm in the community, not to the public, not to the county,
Not to who?
not to the county.
Oh.
And I'm not doubting that it's an expense of the public defender's office, and I'm not necessarily saying that it should be denied, but I think it's something that needs to be looked at, that they should have those billed to the county and not an outside law firm.
So what is our, Mr. Auditor, what would be your office's action with regard to that Athena Research public defender charge?
I don't have any problem with it. I mean, got a case number on there and everything. Did we write the check to Jungers or to Athena? I don't know. You know, it'd be an employee reimbursement if he paid it out of his own pocket, which is legitimate. Thing I'd object to probably is Burger King.
I'm sorry.
Burger King.
Burger King and Subway.
Oh, is that on that invoice?
Yeah. I don't, but well, they're staying overnight. They're here for a hotel bill, so I guess those are legitimate too.
Do we have a policy of paying for consultants' time and, like food charges, travel and food in such a case?
Yeah, it depends on probably depends on the contract they've got, but I don't think it's unusual that we pay out of town consultants their meals while they're here.
While they're here.
I thought
Or
we
while
were,
they're here overnight, we'll just run down for the afternoon.
I thought we were fairly lucky they chose Burger King and Culver's and Subway.
Yeah, really?
I have
Really?
seen a couple of them down at J. Ford's.
There you go. But I mean, like I said, that's just one, it was just kind of an example to show you, because I think it's something that they probably should have a different billing way to bill that. There's a bill from Paul Jungers, and that's attached, that you're reimbursing,
Is an
if you're
employee or is
reimbursing
he
him.
contracting with them?
He's an
I thought he was a
he's an
public
attorney.
defender.
Yeah, he's a public defender.
He's a,
Yeah, but they've got some,
I don't know how.
He is an attorney. He works out of
yeah, but
Crawford, Gimel.
sometimes we have public defenders who are county employees and then public defenders who are contractors.
I see what you're asking.
I don't know which one. I want to say he's an employee, but I'm not positive.
But I don't, the expenses were incurred in 19. I don't care whether they reimburse them Jungers or the check was made to Athena. It's a charge against 19 budget as far as I'm concerned.
so
So are
really,
you saying we should not encumber? Oh,
We
no, or are you
should.
saying we should, because it's, again, we're approving the carry forward
Yeah.
into this year, sort of? Okay. So,
But
So-
who would, I don't see whether we're reimbursing Jungers or paying it directly to Athena as relevant to
And you're
determining whether it should be encumbered.
and you're satisfied that the case number on the invoice suggests that it's a valid county
What is
expense?
MR is, that's a juvenile case, isn't it?
MR, I think it is.
It's
But don't-
Division
don't-
1, so it can't be juvenile division.
Yeah, Division One.
3?
No, MR
Juvenile's
is.
Division 3.
Dylan Morgan was tried as an adult in that murder
Well,
case.
yeah, that's,
Or
yeah, that, isn't
homicide,
that
whatever
the
it
kid that shot the other?
Yeah.
That's right.
So either way, there's really no action to be taken on these.
Mm-mm.
Just an example, we can say.
Oh,
Yeah.
but we need to approve these, right?
You can have it,
Or,
you can, if you want to say that you don't think that's an issue, or you can say just leave it, no amendment. So leave it as it was submitted. I'm okay with that. Which changed the amendment column to 0 and then amended to 752090.
okay, so let me back up for a second. We're also going to have to approve in total all of the other encumbrances in this group that don't have issues. So we could say we're going to ignore that one and take no action on that one, because when we approve all the others that don't have issues, this one will be back in the group that don't have issues from our perspective.
Correct.
Okay. So we can kind of move on.
Mr. Bramble says it's not an issue, then it's not an issue.
Okay.
So move on to unallowable expense, correct?
Well, what's the deal with the infraction deferral, the Tabco one?
It's the same thing, and Terre Haute Police Department ordered something for Fright Night or something. I can't remember now what it was.
Can't trust those Terre Haute police.
And so they must have submitted to infraction deferral to play the prosecutor's office. And I really have no idea why this is being covered, because the bill was in August. So it's kind of sad that it's taken this long. Even if it was January.
Do we have any reason to,
Alls I was doing was being consistent, because if neither one were invoiced to the county.
we don't have any reason to believe that that second one is not a county expense?
It's not unheard of for infraction deferral, for the prosecutors to use funds for other departments and agencies.
Okay. Well, then I suggest, I don't move, but I suggest that we do where we were headed a minute ago. We can ignore sort of these.
Public
and-
defender and infraction deferral.
That's right. And when we approve all the other encumbrances that didn't have any issues, these two will be in that group.
All right.
Both of them. Yep.
And the unallowable expenses now, correct? Lit and public safety, the requested amount's $38.
At that 911, they had to repay.
It's for
Looks like employee gifts or something.
911.
Yeah. It's,
Looks like a what? An employee gift?
yeah, they're gifts. They're like, they made mugs with candy and stuff like that. 20 some odd of them.
Where is it?
Oh, yeah, it's a Dollar Tree.
The Dollar Tree?
Looks like that, yeah.
All right. I haven't found any of these yet. Here's tech. All right, so how do we feel about this?
Sure. I think I know what that might be.
12, 18, and 19? What issues do we have with this?
What are you the $38?
$38.
Yeah.
In that packet, you're about 4 pages to the back, from the back.
4 pages from the back.
1,
I
2,
know what that is.
5 from the very back. It's a Dollar Tree.
I don't know what to call it.
Okay, so what did Vicky do? Pay for this herself?
She paid for it and then asking to be reimbursed.
Can't do it, can you?
Given that the auditor's office agrees that this is an unallowable expense by the last statement, I move that we move to council with a favorable recommendation, the amended amount and account total, which are zero.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to move to council with a favorable
For the amended.
for the amended amount of
That's right.
0.
That's right.
Okay. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we move on to council with a favorable recommendation that the amended amount is 0. Denied by auditor. LR and S. Is
Local Road and Street.
that what that is?
Yeah. There in the documentation, there's an email to the Highway Department, which is over Local Road Street. That charge was denied because it was for a check that was written in 2019 and voided in 2020. And it states that it was denied, but then,
Yeah, I overruled that.
okay,
there
that
is-
wasn't in the documentation.
No. That was it got paid in the fall. And somehow I don't know, check was lost in the mail or whatever. We came back and voided it and wrote another check. So I said, go ahead.
So it's
and
for the
number
same,
it. Same thing.
So it was all taken care of, if I'm understanding you right, it was taken care of in the fall.
It's taken care of in the fall and the check never made it to the bank or never got
we-
lost or.
And then you just wrote another check for the same amount.
So voided.
If it's for the same charge, it's not an issue. So if it's a different charge. That's okay, I
That's
just was
okay.
reading through their
So-
results.
So can we ignore it, or does it still need to be paid in this year because it,
It's already paid.
You can
okay.
ignore
So we
it.
don't need to do
so we
anything
can
further.
ignore it, okay.
The next one, amount change due to auditor change. EMA, the requested amount, $570.59. The amended amount and the total account, $832.
On this, EMA had submitted, 3 or 4 items, I'm looking for that. 4 different items to be encumbered out of the account 35450. 3 of them were denied. This one, the total of the invoice was $832, but they only had $570.59 remaining in the account with the other 3 in there. So, in theory, 832 could be approved. It's however you want to move forward with that.
There was only 570 left on that, in the budget account, is that how that worked?
Well, the balance of the account was 1,622.46, or the total of this. That's what it looks like. And so, in order, like, if you take all those other 3, that's all that was left was 570.59. But then when those were denied, that would allow that one to go back up to 832.
And why would we deny the other requests? Why
Because
would-
they weren't building repair items.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
no.
So you all denied those, and now there's enough money in the account to pay the full 832, so we could change this encumbrance to 832. Okay, because we have enough money. So I move that we move to council with favorable recommendation this updated encumbrance for $832.
Motion,
Second.
a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so move this to entire council, the favorable recommendation that the new total is $832. And the next one, no documentation, drug court,
Yes.
requested amount $457.93.
Yeah. I don't know that I got all the emails, but I got where you reworked it and recreated it. It was, but this, yeah, but to me, I mean, this is not, there's no agreement here, no documentation for this car, other than it's on a Southwest Airline purchase confirmation, which is on every one that Southwest sends you. Say, hey, while you're there, get a car.
Oh.
Yeah, that is true.
Who went to Los Angeles? I mean, what was this for even? Do we know?
Well, actually, it was canceled because of this whole mess.
Oh,
So it was canceled.
so that's
it's
easy.
not like they're going to be out anything.
So the whole thing, whole encumbrance ought to be,
Well, I don't think they can do that because unless they get a credit from Southwest, because right now they just got credit vouchers that they can use for another flight. So they've paid for them and they have a voucher. So they're going to get they're gonna have credit vouchers, and I think one of them has a trip. They're planning on the conference for, next year, that, the credit voucher.
So I move that we move to council with a favorable recommendation, this encumbrance with an amended amount of 0 and an account total of $1784.94.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, we'll move it on to the
Once
entire
again,
council.
that one, you know, that would follow this example that we're talking about here, that I gave you there.
Oh, we did.
They're estimating that car's gonna cost them $457.93 when they get there, but the transaction never took place. So you reverse it.
Okay, gotcha.
On that topic, Jim, you said that if they don't use all of it, or if they don't use any of it, that it goes away. What do you have in place to monitor that?
We're weak on that.
Okay.
So,
That's, we
So
don't
in
have-
theory, it's a good theory, except for we don't have any way to monitor it if you put it in.
so
a
if
higher
there's,
amount.
for the example, is $30,000 is $29,900. Where's that $100 go? Does it go back to the department?
The $100.
Yeah. The leftover that they didn't use?
No, the appropriation dies, which means the
Well,
authority
it-
to spend that dies.
Gotcha.
If it occurs, if we had a purchase order system, it would go back in the budget, and they'd have another $100 to spend. Here at the end of the year, if it's not spent, it dies.
Purchase order system would be really good.
Yeah, if you want to hire 2 or 3 people to manage it, and probably purchasing it.
Saves
I
a
would
lot
guess
of
that
money.
probably
Yep.
at the university, I would bet they have a
I have one at my
purchasing
shop.
Oh,
department
yeah.
that-
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I move that we approve the remaining encumbrances without issue at the amounts designated, requested.
Motion on the floor to move to council with a favorable recommendation, the remaining encumbrances, correct?
Yes.
Second.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes, favorable recommendation.
But I might add that though we don't have a perfect encumbrance system, in our audits, we have never been criticized for what we've done or overdrawn in appropriations. What we've done in the past.
So if building inspection comes and says, hey, we want to buy a new lawnmower, there's no purchase order generated for that? Or they basically just go get an invoice and
They
say,
don't.
bring it back and this is how much it's going to cost?
So, I mean, they could come to you and say, well, you know, we think it's gonna be $15,000, and you appropriate 15,000, they go in and they get it for, 12. They've got an extra $3,000 in their budget to spend on something else.
Wow.
But what the purchase order system does, it acts as a control, not overspending. If it should be going on throughout the year. It's a check. Okay, I want to go out and buy a $15,000 lawnmower. You send that to the auditor's office or the purchasing manager or whoever. He verifies that they have the appropriation remaining to make that purchase, signs off on it, give it to the bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper makes this entry right there on top to reserve it. Then when the bill comes and it's $14,000, it gets moved back, and he's got his next $1,000 back.
Purchase orders are accountability.
Ahead of time,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
can't buy it without.
Yeah, prior to, right? Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mr.
Mr.
President.
I second that.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all for all your work on this.
It should have. We're in unusual circumstances. This all ought to be done